guys, it's John here. It is mid-September and tons of things have changed in the container garden. So we're going to show you guys all of the beautiful flowers that we have. We have so many celosias, of course the beautiful mahogany splendors hibiscus, and tons of other flowers that are just now starting to bloom. So let me show you guys the first stair step bench over here. We have some really pretty dragon's breath celosia. These are just about to bloom, you guys. I see buds, finally. I feel like we've been waiting all summer for these to bloom, and they are just now starting to bloom. And we do have some gorgeous intense celosia up here. Look at that, it's a purple celosia. Again, we planted all of these back in the summertime, so really they've been establishing all summer long, getting big, getting nice and healthy, and now that it's cooling down, they are loving life and starting to really put on some really beautiful blooms. So we've planted these, gosh, probably the end of June is when we planted all of these plugs. So over here we have some really pretty raven red cockscombs. Look at those, aren't they pretty? The leaves on them are absolutely stunning, you guys. Just that dark purpley, reddy green leaf is just perfect. It's so cute. I love it. And then we have some peppers over here. This one's called the Acapulco Purple. I've talked to you guys about this. Hi, Rhaenyra. Hi. You gonna help us show some flowers? Yeah. But the Acapulco Purple, it's super short, you guys. Like, it's not even 4 inches tall, but it makes these like purple and red flowers, berries. It has these purple flowers that are absolutely beautiful as well. So we're gonna tuck more of those. We have a ton of those on the side of our house that we'll tuck into the container garden. Once we have a few things that are going to be taken out, we have a lot of celosias up here. Some of the celosias are gonna be fading out, so we'll replace them with the peppers when we do. So we have more of the cockscombs over here. These are some of the celosias, the older ones that might be fading out in a couple weeks, but they still look pretty good. Some of them look great. So we'll still hang on to those with the cockscombs. I just love the cockscombs with the celosia mix. This is the kimono celosia mix. Super pretty. And the heads on these celosias have just gotten so much bigger recently. So we have those. Of course, we have some really pretty fountain grass. We have 3 of these tucked in to the garden, sporadically placed. So we have these. What are you guys doing? We have some zinnias, the Magellan salmon zinnias in the containers. They're a little taller than they usually are, but they're still really pretty. We need to deadhead these, but look at that color, you guys. It's kind of like an Oklahoma salmon color, just super, super pretty. And most of these are fully double blooms on there too. So we have more of the dragon's breath celosia. It is flanking the stair step bench. More of the same cockscombs, the brainiac cockscombs and the dwarf celosias. This is a kimono celosia, specifically orange ones. And we put a lot of plants in these, you guys. There's 3 plants in each one. So they're really packed in there, and they're a 6-inch container. So they're really, really full, these containers. Isn't that pretty though? They fill in quickly and they look quite lovely. So we have those, more dragon's breath over here, more dragon's breath over here. This is more of that purple intense celosia, you guys. Isn't that really pretty? It really just started to bloom for us this week. And it's gonna get bigger and bigger as the season progresses. It's kind of a branching cockscomb, but not cockscomb, celosia, but it branches more towards the top here. So you're gonna get a lot of show towards the top of the plant. It's different than a ruby parfait. A ruby parfait celosia branches more towards the base of the plant than this one. The intense purple branches more towards the top, which is great for a container garden. It's great for really any garden condition. If you're not, I mean, you can still use it for a cut flower, but the ruby parfait is gonna be better for a cut flower because it's gonna have more branching towards the base of the plant, and you're not gonna get a massive head on it like these do, but this is still great for our container garden. So the intense purple, we have the twisted orange cockscombs, you guys. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Just a really gorgeous, like salmony pink color. And as it ages, it's getting more like salmon. It's really, really pretty. So this variety specifically is new for 2025. It's the dark leaf, it's the twisted orange dark leaf, but it's different because it has a dark leaf. So it's super pretty. I always go for the darker leaves in the fall because why not? Give them like more of a darky, moodier vibe, but it's a branching cockscomb like I mentioned. So this plant right here, I think this is 2 plants. So there's three plants here and 3 plants here, but they make multiple heads per plant, and it's so cool to see. Usually cockscombs only make 1 head per plant. So this one's not grown from seed, but it's still a really pretty one to have in the garden. This one's new for us for this year, new to growing. This one's called Dracula. Isn't that pretty? That name is so fun too. Just spooky and just perfect for this season. It's a little bit taller than the Brainiac series, but it's still short. It's only like 6 to 8 inches tall. I think the tag said that they would get around like 10 to 14 inches tall, so they're a little bit shorter than they normally would be, but honestly, I think they're perfect. I see one that's getting taller, and I don't know why it's getting taller, but sometimes that just happens. So this is Dracula. It kind of makes more of like a fan shape cockscomb, which is kind of fun to see. And again, the leaves on this plant are just so pretty. Those dark moody leaves. This is another twisted cockscomb over here. This is one plant. This is one plant. This is a gold or yellow. I don't know which color it is, but you can see how many heads. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 heads on here. Plus there's like ones down here. So they make multiple flushes of cockscombs, which is super fun to have in the garden. You know, it's cool to have a big head of cockscombs, but it's also nice to have some smaller ones to kind of mix into the container garden just a little bit more. So we have these. We have some really pretty Alternithera. This one's a kind of a filler plant in the garden. It makes these really moody leaves. Look at that. Isn't that really pretty? It was green, more green towards the beginning of the summer. And since it's matured and temperatures cooled down a little bit, it has turned this really pretty plum color. I think it's called purple prince, I believe, or plum dandy, one of the two. But this is one plant right here, so it does really, really well, and it responds great to pruning too, and propagation. If you want to clip off a leaf, clip off a leaf and stick it in some rooting hormone and propagate it, it'll root in really, really quickly. So that's Alternithera. This is a sweet potato vine. You know, I usually don't grow sweet potato vines in the container garden, but this one, I love the leaves on this, and I think it just pairs really well for the fall. I don't know the exact name of it, but it's just this like burgundy brown color that's so pretty. It goes with the Alternithera and the dragon's breath celosia and just really everything else. So that's what we have here. We have some, oh my gosh, this is more kimono celosia. And then we have a Cosmo celosia. We might be taking this one out soon. I've not been a huge fan of these. They've been kind of, had a low lifespan, a short lifespan, I should say, before they start looking kind of crummy. So we have some more cockscombs down here. This is the Mad Magenta. And these look really good. We'll probably switch out the Raven Red cockscombs for the Mad Magenta in the upcoming weeks, as these, I mean, there's a lot of them that still look good, but there's some of them are starting to fade because these are a little bit older. So we'll probably switch them all out, and that will be a really pretty border of cockscombs here later on. Hi, Renly. He's helping us in our garden tour, supervising. And of course we have these really pretty marigolds, you guys. I love marigolds for fall, and adding them to the container garden is just such a beautiful treat. This one's called Durango Bee. And then next to her, we have a really pretty pepper. This one's called Sedona Sunset. She's just now starting to make her fruit, but it's supposed to have like a orange and yellow color to it. Look how pretty that is. Isn't that gorgeous? But they're just supposed to make a ton of little tiny fruits. So that one's gonna be really pretty textural element right here. We have more of them that we can add that we might in the future. I just don't know where to put it. We grow a lot of extra plants. I'll show you guys that, that we just tuck in places where we find the room. This one's the Rogue one, the Rogue Dracula, that's a little bit taller than the rest. I don't know why or how this one got taller, but this is the only one that is gonna be taller than the rest of them. So that's kind of fun Sometimes that happens when things are grown by seed. The variations are kind of different in height, texture, color, and that just happens sometimes. Hey you guys, we are back the next day, but let's take a look at this beautiful millet behind us. This is one of my favorites, and I always love growing it every year because it grows so fast. It's exactly like growing corn. If you've ever grown corn before, millet is in the same family and they have the same type of leaves, but I think it's just such a beautiful element to have in your fall garden. I'm just obsessed. This one's called Copper Prince. It's supposed to stay a little bit shorter than the Purple Majesty. I think the Majesty gets like a foot taller. So this one stays a little bit shorter and a little bit wider, which is kind of nice. So they do branch out at the bottom too, which is just a great habit to have on the plant. We do have a grass tucked in behind here as well. We may move it. It is kind of hidden behind here, but it is still just so pretty. More Dragon's Breath celosia, more twisted orange cockscombs as well. And take a look, you guys, at this purple intense celosia and look at this view of all of them. Isn't that beautiful? They're gonna be so pretty. In the next couple weeks, they're really gonna put on a show, but they're just now starting to peak their bloom period. Our third stairstep bench has a ton of just orange celosias on here. We have some other flowers that we'll be adding to the stairstep bench in a little bit. They're almost ready. They're bulking out, kind of filling in their space a little bit. We have a Dragon's Breath celosia over here. You can kind of see these buds here. If you look in closely, they are just now starting to form their buds. They're kind of white. So anyways, blooms will come, blooms will come. We have a giant Dragon's Breath celosia over here. Look at this one. I think this is 5 or 6 plants. I think it's 5 or 6 plants, but look how massive this is. If you want something that's like a mum in the fall that kind of like spills outside the pot, I think that everyone wants those giant flowers that just, you know, ooze floral. This is definitely the plant just because it gets so big and it's just such a mass. It's a ball of florals, which is so pretty. Okay, so over here we have more grasses. We have, hi Renly, what's that? You wanna be in the tour again? We have some zinnias over here. Yeah, you like the zinnias. This is the Magellan salmon. I showed you guys these earlier, but this is a second succession that we planted later in the summer. I think we planted these, gosh, probably in July at some point. Okay, so we have a row of the Brainiac Raven-Red cockscombs here. Aren't those pretty? Those will make their way onto the stairstep bench eventually, but we just had so many of them. We made a whole entire row of them at the base. Isn't that pretty? So pretty. And in our last stairstep bench, we kind of have more of the same flowers. We have the Brainiac, the celosias, and that's really it. Some of these are kind of older, so we'll probably phase them out again. More of the purple celosias over here to kind of give us some height here. So anyways, you guys, that is it for the container garden. Take a look at how beautiful it is right now. It's gonna change quite a bit too once the Dragon's Breath starts blooming, so I'm so excited to see all that. We'll show you guys kind of the plants, the nursery, behind the scenes, if you will, of all the plants that are going to go into this container garden or a future container garden at a client's house or our shade garden. We have a lot of shade plants too. So behind us here, I'll show you, we have some really pretty coleus. This is a Volcanica. I believe the name is this one. This one's like a redhead one, super pretty. And then we have a La Prodige Avenue Street with those serrated leaves on them. This is definitely one of our favorites this year, but just some really pretty, has like a magenta tone in there. So pretty. I love this plant. So these are growing in. These will go in our container garden in just a little bit. Once it gets a little cooler, we have some dragon wing begonias. This one's a red dragon wing because I thought red would be great for fall. Those are really pretty. Those are going to give us some flowers in the shade because we have lots of coleus and sweet potato vines and some height. So these are a little bit taller. So that'll be a great addition to that garden. We are making another stairstep bench. We're going to show you guys how to make that in just a little bit. But yeah, they're really pretty easy to make and put together. So we can't wait to share that with you guys. We have some Calibrachoa back here. These will all go on the stairstep bench eventually. We kind of let them bulk up back here and get a little bit bigger before going on there. We also don't have a ton of room, so we have some purple ones back here. This one's called Dracula. Isn't that fun? We have a Dracula cockscomb. We have a Dracula calibraco. But it has like that magenta with that black center. Isn't that pretty? So pretty. And then we have some blue ones back here. This is a blue calibracoa. It's supposed to be like purple, like a dark, dark purple. That one's gonna be pretty, just a really standard one. And then we have a apricot one back there. That one's gonna be really pretty. Obviously apricot and orange tones for fall are just absolutely perfection. So this is kind of the spot where we put all of our plants that we don't have a spot for. Again, if they're going to a client's house, if they're going in our backyard, this is kind of just where we put some extra stock plants, if you will. And we do have another section over here where we have even more plants. I'll show you guys. This is, again, kind of a nursery section. We do have some shade plants over on the side of our house as well. We have some angelonias over here. This is kind of where we cut things back and put them so they can flush out again. And we may add these to the container garden again. They're looking a little scraggly right now, but honestly, I think that's just how they look. So a salvia, we'll probably be adding that in the springtime. Okay, and we'll show you guys this container too, because I always feel like we miss it. But this is a millet. I think this is 3 plants in here with some really pretty, again, more of the purple celosias underneath of it to kind of give it some nice filler. And then a green sweet potato vine. I thought that went really well with the pot. The pot's like a blue color, like a cobalt, like a more of like a blue and brown. So I think the green worked really, really well with that. So anyways, that is this container for you guys. Over here we have more sweet potato vines, Uranera. This is a brown one. I think it's called like Bright Lights Red or something. I think that's the name of it. And then we have the medusas. I think I really like the contrast with the two. We just had the medusas on here over the summertime, and I didn't really love just that, but the two next to each other, I'm kind of vibing with. So anyways, we're gonna put some coleus and begonias in this section once it cools down just a little bit. This area gets weird amount of sun. It'll get full sun in the summertime because the sun's like overhead here, but in the wintertime it'll get full shade. So we kind of have to pick plants that will take those light conditions. So in the fall, we will transition to more shadier conditions, really probably the beginning of next month. So once that happens, we'll take some of these out and then we'll put in some coleus and some more fun things. And we might actually put them down here. There's a bench down here. So we usually will put some sweet potato vines down here and then we'll put some more fun stuff. So it'll look really, really full. There's also a vinca. This is a, I don't know exactly what type of vinca. Vinca major, minor. But this has been here for a while. It's growing in the crack of our house. And yes, I know it's kind of invasive, but it's not invasive. Here in Arizona, where we have it so dry here, this only gets watered from these pots here, and it's been pretty contained. So we need to give this a nice trim this fall so it can flush out with some new growth here. So anyways, we have some more containers over here. We decided to do like a mix here. We have some cockscomb and some orange celosia, just a mix in these square pots. These will probably go at the base of all the stair step benches. And we'll move around some of the other pots as well. And then we have a ton of peppers, you guys. This is the Acapulco purple, kind of has that orange, red, that dark vibe to it. That one's absolutely stunning. I love her. And then we have tons of them down here. Some of them kind of struggled through the summertime, so we're babying them until they fill out again. But this one is called Oxen Red. It's supposed to have, oh, here we go. Oh gosh, there's ants. These red little berries, do you guys see that? So this one will be filled with those red little berries. And then we have one called Sedona Sunset. It's supposed to have these little red and, not red, orange and yellow ones. I showed you guys those earlier, but we have 3 more of them down here. This one's a new one. I don't know exactly the name of this one, but it's a pretty little daisy goldflower that I found at the nursery. And I thought I would test it out to see how it does here this fall. So we're always testing things out, and this was one of them. We have some African marigolds. This one's a dwarf one called Tashin, Just a really pretty gold color with these nice big blooms. We pinched off all the blooms when we got them so it would bush out some more, and I think that was a really good idea because now they're bushing out quite a bit and they're filling in the containers. We did put 4 of them in here just because they don't get that big. They only get about 8 to 10 inches tall. So we wanted them to fill in. Oh, she found something. To fill in pretty quickly. So we have that. We also have some dahlias over here. This one's called Venti Tequila Sunrise. I have not grown this particular variety, but it is a shorter one, and typically shorter ones bloom a little bit quicker than the taller varieties because they don't need to get as tall to bloom, but I'm excited to try this one out and see how it does. It has this really pretty like orangey, orangey like vintage color that's supposed to be really, really pretty. So I'm hoping they bloom maybe in like November, but we're just letting them sit here. We're giving them some good fertilizer and hoping that they'll fill in quickly. We have a ton more peppers over here. We have the orange ones. Acapulco orange, Acapulco red, they are just now starting to flush out some new peppers, which is super exciting. Now that the temperatures are cooling down, the peppers can now push out some fertile blooms. When it's over 105, the flowers actually become infertile just because it's so hot. So a lot of the fruits on the peppers will just abort themselves. So now that it's cooling down, they can actually produce some peppers. So we'll show you guys the containers out front and go from there. Okay, so we have 7 containers up front, and we kind of have different things planted in them, but kind of the same palette. Again, the sweet potato vines that we planted, this brownish red one, we have some more dragon's breath. I don't know why this one is so stunted in here. They're a little bit smaller. We have some twisted cockscombs, some orange, a gold one in here, more alternifera, that's gonna be pretty. We have more dragon's breath celosia. This is the Durango bee marigold that will be blooming in just a little bit. Oh, there's one blooming right here, of course. And then we have our intense purple one up here that will start to bloom. And then of course we have our beautiful millet. I just love how these turned out and filled in. This one's more purple heavy, so we have more of the intense, more of the sweet potato vines. These have been here over the summer. This is a purple one. And then we have some black angelonia that has been absolutely beautiful. And then on the other side of the container, we have some purple gomphrena and some vinca. So yeah, they look pretty good. Love it. And then all of these other containers, you guys, are kind of the same type of vibe with the millet, the sweet potato vines, and the alternifera. They look really lovely. We do have one pot that's all dragon's breath celosia because we love to do that because we just love this flower so much. And I realized a lot of the other ones kind of got swallowed up. So I'm excited, I'm glad I did this in this pot. So next to that one, we have some Draculas. And now, I don't think the leaves are getting as dark because I don't think this plant gets as much sunlight as the ones in the back. And I'm just now realizing that is the case because this pot is blocking its sunlight for at least half the day. But anyways, they're still so pretty. And we're still gonna enjoy their beautiful blooms over here. And then over here, we have a shade container because this container gets a lot less sun than all of the other pots. And we didn't want to put something that was just going to struggle in here, so we put some coleus in here. I'll show you guys, I'll lift up this brick. But we put some coleus in here. It gets a little too much sun in the afternoon for the coleus. There are some leaves that we trimmed up, but look at that. We put some volcanic ones in there, volcanica, and then the Laportage Street. We'll clean up this pot too once we take this shade cloth off. We'll keep the shade cloth on until it cools down just a little bit. It still has been in the hundreds. It was 100 yesterday, it's gonna be 100 today. So once it cools down, maybe until like the 80s, we'll take it off because these coleus can take full sun, but not 100-degree full sun. So anyways, you guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I will leave the link down to our shop down below. We will have all of our ranunculus and anemone corms for sale. We'll also have live plants to ship to your doorstep. I am so excited for that, you guys. So I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.